Well, back home, immigration officers have issued 77 stay-home notices as of noon today, 12 hours after the new scheme kicked in. These notices were issued to Singapore residents, long-term pass holders and foreign workers who have travelled to mainland China in the last 14 days. Travellers from Hubei province are excluded from this scheme as they are quarantined. The number of coronavirus cases here has grown to 84, with 3 new cases confirmed yesterday. One of the new cases is linked to the Grace Assembly of God cluster. The other case is linked to the Life Church and Missions cluster. Meanwhile, contact tracing is underway on the third case. Of the 84 patients here, 34 have recovered, 4 though are in critical condition. And with Singapore into its second week of DORS-CON Orange, workers and business leaders who took measures to ensure the continuity of the operations are beginning to wonder just how long this might continue. Many firms have activated their business continuity plans or BCPs since the disease outbreak response level was raised on February 7th. Working from home or working from another site or divided into separate teams, perhaps you're experiencing that right now. For instance, many of the major banks, including UOB and OCBC, have already split staff involved in the critical functions and services into separate teams. A spokesman for the Public Service Division said yesterday that some government agencies have adopted BCPs for critical functions, while other agencies have arranged for teams to work in different offices. With most staff holed up at home and striving to stay connected through online messaging and teleconferencing services, business leaders are starting to count the cost in terms of lost productivity and business. Let's check in with correspondent Yip Wai Yee on the progress some businesses are making in implementing their BCPs. So Wai Yee, first of all, tell us more about these plans. What changes have companies here adopted?
Okay, so for example, BCPs for some companies means splitting teams. For example, for me and you at ST as well, we have split teams. You're working from the office and I'm at home. And for other teams, I think for other offices, what they do is they get people to work from 2 different offices, so 2 different work sites. Or there's also the option of things like staggered work timing. So maybe someone can take the morning shift and then another person in the team can take the evening shift. It's so to reduce cross-contamination risk.
Yeah, that makes sense. But what has it been like for companies to transition from their regular operations to activating their BCPs? What were some initial reactions, for example?
Okay, I think the good thing is from what we've gathered so far, it seems like quite a lot of companies have been pretty quick on activating their BCPs, and it seems like they've already had that in place to prepare for situations such as this. So, pretty much as soon as the alert level was raised to orange, quite a lot of people responded very quickly. So, a lot of the major banks here have activated BCPs and have split teams for critical functions and services. And then there's even a lot of SMEs that we spoke to, despite being small teams, they've somehow managed to either staggered work timings or they've arranged other arrangements in place.
But I guess in the implementation, what are some of the common challenges that these companies have told you about?
Okay, so the thing about, for some colleagues who work from home, I think it's really hard to check whether they're by their computers at all times or whether they're responding to emails all the time. I think there is the problem of productivity. And also, there was some companies I spoke to who have technical issues. So suddenly, when everyone's working remotely, maybe it tests their systems
Mm.
quite a bit. So, for example, there was one marketing communications company I spoke to, and usually what they do when they look at large video files is they just go to a single person's computer to look at it. But now, because they have to download and share these huge files, it's very, very slow and inefficient for them. So there have been some technical glitches, I think, for some people.
Right. Well, Wai, some experts have said that the outbreak could drag on for several more months, perhaps until the warmer weather returns. But really, we don't know when or if the virus could be eradicated. So actually, how sustainable are these BCPs, like split team operations?
Okay, so a lot of the human resource experts we spoke to say that it is sustainable only if companies are willing to, keep on their toes and adapt as and when necessary. So because the virus situation is evolving every single day, so things are different all the time. They have to be willing to change things and perhaps even adjust expectations and target operating models. And for other companies, I think they might have to be okay with accepting that they have to incur extra financial costs. So, for example, for some companies, they have to upgrade teleconferencing tools or upgrading the network security or even hiring freelancers to help with some of the tasks.
Hmm. Well, let's look ahead now. What conditions
Mhm.
would allow for a return to a more normal mode of operations, Wai Yee?
Okay, so I think besides being open minded and ready to adjust certain expectations, what human resource experts say is communication is key right now between employers and employees. So, because things are changing so rapidly all the time, it's really important to keep employees informed of any plans or
Mm-hmm.
changes that you plan. So, for example, I think there's some employees who are not used to working from home and they feel cooped up or maybe not productive. I think it's a good time to remind them that unless you're under quarantine orders, working from home means that you still can step out and just practice good hygiene and kind of gather your energy again outside and then come back and get back to work.
Right. Well, thanks so much, Wai Yee, for shedding more light on the situation. That was correspondent Yip Wai Yee, and you can visit straitstimes.com to read her piece on BCPs and the costs that businesses are bearing.